Anyways, let's start ABC. It's episode 105. I actually uploaded 104 2 hours ago. So
Nice.
there we go. We watched episodes 4 and 5 of Pararamon, Decadence, and God of High School, right?
Correct.
All of us?
Correct.
Jeffrey?
All of us?
All of us, yeah.
Okay, good.
Cool, so we can continue.
That's why I was late.
I'm Eric. Brandon. Fuck! Damn it! No!
Yes! Ooh! I'm Nick.
In my head.
Jeff.
Oh, God.
And I'm a little confused.
Jeffrey,
so
is my name Eric?
Yeah, Brandon
Well,
goes
I
by
know-
2 names. Professionally,
I
he
know
goes
that.
by Eric. And so, probably like every 1 in 4 weeks or so, Brandon will mistakenly introduce himself as Eric.
This is a
It's my
professional
fa-
thing.
It's my favorite fuck up that Brandon will do.
Nick, this is
Pretty good.
professionalism
It's
here.
There is or is not professionalism here.
This is professionalism. I'm using my professional name,
This
Eric.
is professionalism here?
That's why I'm using my name, my professional name.
Oh, okay.
I did it on
If we're doing a
purpose.
professional podcast, I need to stop doing so many racist bits.
That's the mark of a true pro, though.
Those were all bits. I want
Getting
this on,
canceled.
I want this on recording. It was all bits.
Yeah, never actual racism.
No.
That's bad.
That's too far.
We don't like that. No.
Anyway, let's talk about the Pararamon, the 4 and 5. Episode 4
Yeah.
mostly about Shaolin, and then episode 5 starting the actual race basically, and then choosing our positions. Quick little
I do like
rundown.
that. Yeah. I do like that. Like it took us 5 episodes to get to the first scene again.
Yeah.
I think that was the big thing I was watching. I was like, I've seen this one before.
I was tempted to go back to episode 1 to try and figure out like if things were different or if they like added stuff in, and then I got too lazy and didn't do it.
I'm just gonna go with, I don't think it
Yeah.
did. It looks the same. Just like a little bit
It looks
faster.
about
Because you don't want to show exactly the same thing. Unless you do,
Yeah.
and, save money.
I felt like there might be like a little bit extra stuff added when they were all like talking in the car, like right at the beginning of the race.
Maybe, but I feel like that stuff was still in there. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, I was too lazy to go back and look.
same, I'm way too fucking lazy as well. Like, the race has finally started. We're fucking going.
Yes.
So we also found out in these last 2 episodes that the plot isn't just going to be they race to New York. It's that there's going to be like some conspiracy behind the race and some like stuff happening that's going to like
Yeah.
cause some other shit to happen. I don't know. They're very like wishy-washy about it right now.
I mean, to be fair, we always kind of thought that was going to be the thing because we said if it was just the race from this point on, it would suck.
yeah, but now it's confirmed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now
it was
that-
always sort of confirmed. It was always sort of confirmed. There was never a point in which I honestly believed it was just going to be a race. I'll be honest.
But anyways, what do you
I mean,
think is going to be the conspiracy? Either of you, because I honestly have no clue. Like I maybe something to do with about the big bosses, but I don't know.
Maybe like it's all like a trick by one of the big 3 companies, like to do. I don't fucking know.
Well, but
I got
all 3 big companies are in on it, though. I thought.
Maybe
that
it's like
what it was
some
about?
outside thing. Like they want to see all of the big
Oh.
companies fail and then come in with like some alternative technology.
So there's like a 4th company
Yeah.
trying to start some shit. Also, real quick, what's the I in big? What company is that?
Iron Motors.
Iron Motors. Okay,
What is it in reality? I have no fucking idea.
I don't care about that, but
I think it's Ford, but I'm not 100% certain.
close enough.
It's an American company, and there aren't a whole shit
I
ton
like
of
how
American car
I think
companies.
I find it fun how they're actually just using General Motors though.
The
And the others like have to be kind of
other
like
one
puzzled.
is BMW, and then which is weird because they're French, but BMW is a German company. But I complained about that already.
Once again, Nick. He's just European. He's just European.
No, that is fair. Yeah, he's just
European.
European.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the rapier or his last name. He's
Yeah.
just European.
Al Leon. But yeah, we get the first episode of the set is actually some pretty interesting racing, in my opinion. I kind of liked it, but then again, I'm actually into real
I'm
racing.
not into racing. I just know. I was just watching them, drive a car. I
Yeah.
didn't think it was bad. I actually really liked it. I just didn't
Mhm.
understand what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, not understand, but like didn't fuck. I don't know the right word. I couldn't actually Fuck it, just go, Nick. I don't know the words.
Okay. I was wondering how long I was gonna have to let you drown
There's a
for.
fucking word in there that I'm thinking of, but I don't know what it is.
That's fair.
I can
But
appreciate.
yeah, so
I
we
can
get
appreciate.
okay,
Boom, got it there. Got there eventually.
just in the nick of time.
But it's-
So we get to see a little bit of actual racing where they talk about like the racing line and tire wear and fuel consumption, a lot of things to
Weight.
do with like honest to god racing and weight, how that factors in how fast you can go. And it was kind of cool because I think they did a pretty decent job of like breaking it down enough that like even if you don't care about racing, you can kind of understand it. Like, did you guys sort of understand what they were talking about more or less?
yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
if-
I know nothing about racing, but like
Mm.
the track, like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
But like the
Yeah,
biggest
cheap
crux
later,
of
costs
this
less fuel.
race was like the tire stuff, and they did a good
Yeah.
job explaining why that was important and how that was helping Shaolin.
Um,
Oh, and the
because they're dealing with like proto IndyCar cars. Because essentially, like in the racing scene, there were two what's called open wheel races, racing formats that developed like kind of separately from each other, which is the American IndyCar scene and then the everywhere else in the world Formula scene. And they're called open wheel because the wheels are exposed on the outside. But so
More
a
you know.
lot of the open wheel scene is custom made cars.
is that where
which
the
is
indie
different-
comes from?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't actually know. IndyCar didn't become a thing like as called IndyCar until the 80s or the 90s, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it was called before then.
I do know that it was mostly like a lot of companies basically building cars specifically for this, right?
Yeah,
That's what like Ford versus Ferrari was about.
exclusively for yeah, that was Ford versus Ferrari, and the Le Mans stuff was a stock car race, if I remember correctly.
So
I'd have to
so
go
like
back
you
and-
take a real car and then just soup it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was sort of like NASCAR, where NASCAR the basic like it's called the chassis, which is like the main frame of the car.
I guess
In
it's like consumer
NASCAR,
grade, right? Or like, not consumer
yeah,
grade,
it's
but like
it's a
consumer-
regular car. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they take like a regular Chevy Camaro and then put in a new motor and suspension and all that for like the race, but the chassis, like the main body of the car, is a stock car. There is another series which is again like an everywhere else in the world thing called GT, the Gran Turismo series, which is where they did the Ford versus Ferrari stuff, and they race like Porsches and Lambos and Ferraris and shit like that. Like that's everywhere else in the world does the GT series. In America, we have NASCAR instead, which looks very different than the regular cars, and it's a very different series than GT. But anyways, Indy and Formula One, these are cars specifically built for these races, and so that's why they were talking about like the stuff about like drag and like the fact that their engines were a little bit different. So the one car could be faster because those cars are specifically designed, like its parts are designed for that car. And so how they were talking about like how you do the racing and like going through the racing line, actually like competing for position and overtaking and the drag and using it for the slipstream and stuff like that. There was actually like a pretty decent chunk of like actual race knowledge that they were using, and the fact that like Shaolin underfueled her car, knowing that she was just going to stay behind him and slipstream him time and like use less fuel. Like there was actually some pretty clever racing knowledge that they used, more than just, oh yeah, she just didn't wear down her tires as much so she could go faster. Like the underfueling stuff was actually a really clever addition of like some honest racing knowledge, which I thought was really cool.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
Like I said, I couldn't appreciate it as much as you could, but I think it was really interesting.
Mhm.
But Shaolin ends up losing the race, unfortunately. But her boss basically, acknowledges that she's a good racer and that their actual racer is kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And should just leave.
But they live in 1910s America, and so nobody cares about a female racer because nobody wants to see her compete.
They kind of care about her at the end though, because she kind of basically won. But that's only because
Yeah,
feel good
they won
feelings.
their respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she won the
Everyone
respect
else
like the
dies
mechanics, but I
because-
guess he was saying more like people who come to the tracks don't
Yeah.
want to pay to come see her win.
Which is kind of her
Yeah.
her go to race in the transcontinental one.
Yeah.
Her blessing.
And so she gets the less good race car that she was using for that race as her vehicle, and she gets to be able to have like the mechanics help her build it up so that she can actually use it for a cross country race.
I think they also have. Oh yeah, they have Lyon's guys do it.
Oh yeah, they do have some of the Leon's guys. They do like the mechanics do offer to help though, is the weird thing. Oh, Leon's guys help her build it up for the race.
Yeah.
The mechanics help her build
Yes.
it for the transcontinental one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because remember she has to like bring it in to like because it was like
Right.
shit, and they bring it to Leon and he says like, oh yeah, just building it for one race, we can do that.
Yeah, I was thinking of that as the end, because we don't actually see the car become like the one she gets.
Yeah,
Like that happens off screen, and I was wondering like what the fuck happened to her car. I also 100% thought she was going to use Lionel's old car, but I guess that just got turned into
it got scrapped almost immediately.
yeah, it got scrapped and turned into parts for Pare's car.
Yeah. But then we have the 5th episode, which is basically, as it says,
A little dinner party.
the race.
Yeah, a little dinner
Yeah,
party turned into a brawl, and then the start of the race, where we get to meet. Finally get to meet Crazy TJ.
Yep.
God,
It answers the question we had from the first episode when we were talking about a sound system.
and it does have a.
And I think you asked if he has a record player in his car. He does legit just have a fucking record player
Yep.
in his car that he brought out of the car with him like a fucking boombox.
I loved that.
Crazy
that was
TJ is so
amazing.
fun.
Oh my god, it was so fucking weird. I'm gonna be honest here. When he stepped out of the car and we got to see him in full, and the fact that he was wearing a noose around his neck, I was
that a
sort of
noose?
physically uncomfortable. Yes, that was a noose around his neck.
It is a news. I'm looking at his portrait now. Wow, I did not
Hold
notice
on,
that in the.
I need to
Oh,
see this.
I noticed that immediately, and I was physically uncomfortable.
I thought it was frills on his shirt.
No, he's wearing a noose that's like cut off right after the knot. It's not tight or anything. It's pretty loose,
Yeah.
but it is just straight up a fucking noose.
Hold on. Oh my god. How fucking far did it go?
Jeffrey just posted a picture of it.
God damn it.
But yeah, we
We're
talked
a
about
little
it in
uncomfortable.
the first episode.
Oh my god.
When we talked about
Hmm.
when I brought up Lewis Hamilton as the only black racer in Formula One and how he was treated when he came into the sport. But yeah, it's I mean
no.
the boombox record player was awesome, but at the same time of him being the only guy with a sound system,
Oh, especially
and
with the whole
only
noose.
black guy,
That's a little.
and then the whole noose thing, I'm like, I don't know if I like this depiction
It
of a
says
black
it's kind of
person.
over the top with the noose.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
that's a little.
Oh no.
This is getting a little bit too far into like it's 2020, yo. You can't do shit like this.
It's the like argument of like, oh no, like it's not, but it's like it's a temporal piece. Like this is back in the what is it 1800s? That
No,
were-
I
I mean, but even yeah,
1910.
like
Early
1900s.
1900s.
Under the 1900s,
But like, still, people were getting lynched then. That's.
and people weren't walking around with a noose around their neck back then. Like if it's like a timepiece, then you put him in era appropriate clothes.
You don't give him a fucking marching band outfit.
Yeah, you don't put a noose like a cut noose around his neck and fucking
Oh.
what he's wearing and call it like, oh, it's era appropriate. The fuck it is.
Or give him a colander for goggles.
Yeah. 2
colanders. Well, that aside, I really like his interactions with Apare. They're both very sassy together.
Yeah. He was a solid dude. I was expecting him to be more like,
Reggie?
yeah, or like every man for himself-y.
Oh,
Like he
okay.
didn't care about anybody. It was like, I'm the baddest motherfucker, and all you guys are worthless, kind of.
No, that's Dylan.
Dylan is Batman. We've already discussed this.
But that's still like every man for himself type of guy. Well, kind of.
Kind of.
It depends on which Batman you're reading or watching, I guess.
All right, now that he's back.
Now that who's back?
Jeffrey,
Sorry about
he
that.
left for a second.
I'm back. Hey.
Mhm.
I think something that the show is doing well though is like basically all of the characters are at least somewhat likable. Like there's no one I'm like, man, just like I don't like this character. Like they all have good interactions with the main protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one I like the least is Dylan, just because he's kind of really edgy and shit. But
Yeah.
he can like turn that around. Everyone else is fucking great. They're all wacky and fun.
And to be fair, we've only seen Dylan in like
Yeah, like 5
2.5
scenes, basically.
scenes. Yeah. So we really haven't had a chance to interact with him and actually get to know him. To me, in this episode, the most we interacted with him was basically while he was doing
The Gunkata.
gun fu with TJ.
Gunkata.
That was pretty cool though. That was a cool fight scene.
It was fun. I liked it.
It annoyed me that they never reloaded.
Yeah, I was wondering like when they would
That's what
reload.
annoyed you?
A little bit.
Not them like jumping on rooftops and like shooting at each other point blank but consistently missing. Like
That was
that's-
also that. There were a few shots where like they definitely shot each. There was at one point in like they were standing like when they were on the actual like roof of the building. One of them, I think it was like TJ, he straight up pointed his gun at Dylan's face, pulled the trigger, and somehow missed. Like that gun was full on in the dude's face, and he didn't block it. Like Dylan didn't block it or move out of the way. He stood still. TJ pulled the trigger and missed somehow. And I was like, I don't know if that one would have missed. Pretty sure that dude would be dead right now.
Oh yeah.
Also, they 100% have tinnitus right now. They cannot hear
Oh,
for
absolutely.
shit.
Yeah, that would have been an Archer joke though. Archer's like the only only show that ever does the tinnitus jokes.
On top of that, like everyone else's fight was also kind of like different too. We had Gil's partner. I don't remember his name, but he had the
I want to say it's Hector, but I might be
Hector?
wrong.
he was the arm wrestling. That one dude trying to beat Shaolin, and Shaolin just kicks him and he's out immediately.
Yep.
You've got the cucumber cutting.
Yeah,
That was the
between
best.
Hosame and Al.
The comedy in these last two episodes were really good, especially this last episode. I noticed it more than the rest, and they were pretty good moments. I chuckled at multiple parts.
I thought the cucumber one was especially good because they set it up as you just see Al like rapier fully out, but you don't see like what he's
Yeah.
doing, and then you see Hosame like doing some like downward slashes like he's using his katana. So you imagine that they're like sword fighting each other
Yeah.
like in some weird like super rapid way. So when you get to see what they're actually doing, like it's a pretty good joke, I think.
Do you think a rapier would be able to like cut a cucumber that way? I don't think so.
No.
All right.
Rapiers
Probably
are
not.
rounded, right?
Huh?
I don't know. I've never actually seen like an honest to god rapier. I know like fencing rapiers are. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but like an actual rapier, I think is just a really long sword, really long thin sword. So it actually has an edge on the sides.
Yeah, it
So
might.
it could cut, but I don't know if you could be able to cut it that fast, especially with how like flimsy the end is.
Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to
They
cut
do
with the
have an
rapier as the
edge.
thing.
No, you're supposed to stab.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if they wanted to
It's-
cut a cucumber with one, I don't know if they could because it might still just like flex
Yeah,
or like roll in your hand.
wibbly wobbly.
Yeah.
Well, like, I bet you could do like if you have like the motion swift enough, like you can control the flex though. Like
Mhm.
that's something that is like definitely doable. I don't know about like as thin as they were showing it on the show, but like you can definitely like cut a cucumber easily enough.
With a rapier.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I mean, I've never seen or held an actual rapier, so I'll accept it.
I've
I'll just accept
I've
with
held
blind
the
faith that
fencing
you're right.
one.
Yeah.
But like, that's not the. I know like it's not the same, obviously.
it's a good parallel. But anyways,
Yeah.
talks of cucumbers aside and rapiers. After this, we get the start of the race, which is basically almost nigh exact the first thing we see,
Yep.
and everyone just starts, and we head on out. We
The
also find out.
resolution of our tournament is that Dylan ends up on pole, and our main characters end up in P4. So they're at the front of the race to begin with, but it doesn't fucking matter, which we saw.
Yeah, because they just don't go. Also,
Mhm.
even though they don't go, no one else behind them actually gets in front of them. Because there's multiple cars, but we actually only ever see like the main 8. Did
What do you
notice
mean
that?
nobody gets in front of them?
So, during the start of the race, we only see the main 8 zip past them, but we don't see the other like generic cars at all, even though they're behind them.
Well, we see them when they do when the trolley comes by. We see like 3 just rando cars go by, and then Apari's car.
I mean,
So we do see that there are rando cars in front of Apare.
oh
Yeah,
my
we
God.
don't see them like at the start, like when they first take off, maybe, but we do see that there are other rando cars in the race.
Oh my
I
god,
really
I
hope
don't remember.
Orlando
That.
wins.
I know that scene exists, but I don't remember
Uh-huh.
the cars. I thought the cars were like just normal cars driving around. I
Yeah,
may
I
have
love
just not
those
noticed them. I
movies.
probably didn't notice them.
I just assumed they were like actually part of the race because
I mean, they
nobody
probably
else
were.
is like driving at the
Yeah.
time.
Well, I guess I'm wrong.
Um,
Anyways.
So
yeah.
the other thing we didn't bring up in
Oh, this-
episode 5 yet again is a car thing. We had to see like the specs of all of the cars.
yeah.
Um,
Except for
which
the
they
main
actually
car.
were like fairly era-ish appropriate from as far as I could tell. They're at least not unbelievable. I will say it that way. I don't know if they're super appropriate, but they have it in terms of like brake horsepower and top speed and things like that, and like range and
gas.
size of the
mileage.
size of the fuel tank. They're all like not unbelievable figures. So that was kind of cool to like actually see like how powerful and like all of the cars at different specs. Um, Gil's car fucking sucked though. I don't know if you guys saw that. His car is atrocious.
Yes, but Gil's not gonna, he's not going for the fastest. He's going for everyone else is dead. Therefore, I win.
I know, but still, his car does not go as fast by like 25 miles an hour. Like Shaolin's is like slow as compared to the other cars we saw at like a max speed of 100. Gil's car is a max speed of 75 and worse range than every other car.
100
So
seems
it
really
can't
fast
go as
for an old
far.
car.
I mean, it is a race car. It is designed to go fast.
Right, but that still seems like a really fast for really old cars.
As far as I can tell, some of like the old Ford Speedsters could get going pretty fucking fast.
Oh, okay. Probably super
I think
dangerous
it's
because
props to you guys for reading the stats, because I definitely didn't fucking do that.
I saw that there were numbers and letters, and I'm like, okay, cool.
I actually paused to look at them because, again, I kind of like cars, and I wanted to see like how era appropriate they were, to see if they just like pulled shit out of their ass and it didn't make any sense at all. But they're actually like pretty good numbers.
200.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was expecting, where it was gonna be like 400 brake horsepower. There was a second where it first came up where it was like I thought the number was 1,000, and I was like, the fuck, actually, it has 1,000 brake horsepower. It's 1910, and we've invented an F1 car. Weighs 1,000
did you
pounds.
know?
Has a top speed of 300 miles an hour. Get the fuck out.
It's amphibious.
Yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be a moment where they have to go through water, and Apar's gonna be the one that goes through it, because his car is half boat.
Because he's a boat.
Yep.
That would be interesting.
They're gonna ride the Mississippi. Oh my god, it's gonna become Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
They're going too far north to need to go through the Mississippi. Because they're
Oh
going.
yeah, I guess
They're
so.
going Ely, Nevada, to Denver, Colorado, to Chicago, Illinois, to somewhere else, and then New York.
I mean, they can
think.
still go. They can still get on the Mississippi. They just won't go down to Mississippi.
They'll have to cross the Mississippi.
Yeah.
They just won't go along the Mississippi at all. You're probably right. They will at some point go down a river, though. It'll be the opposite of the Oregon Trail. I just wonder who's going to get dysentery.
Kasame, because he's the butt who joke most of the time.
Okay, that's fair.
But that's the race. Oh,
Oh, you know,
sorry. Go ahead.
I really like. I don't see the point in the character. Oh, what's his name? Hold on. Hototo? Like,
Hototo?
I don't see the point.
He's gonna get the other crew into like this whole thing about trying to get revenge on Gil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. It seems kind of like a pointless thing. Like, I hope that like they do something, like they make it fun, but it seems just kind of like not relevant.
Yeah, it's just like a revenge fantasy character, and that's all he's really there for.
Yeah, and so I'm not like, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I hope it's like a fun character that I enjoy, but I think that's probably the weakest point of the show for me.
Yeah, I think he might be the weakest point of the show just because he's had the least to do. Because like, up until this point, Hototo has just sort of hung out and fished a lot, like had small talk with Kozame. So it might be like as we're on the road and like actually doing Hototo character arc stuff, like maybe he'll actually develop into a good character. But I definitely see where you're coming from. Of like his whole character is, I want to get revenge on Gil and whoever killed my family, and like that's his whole thing.
Yeah, that's his whole shtick.
Yeah,
and like to be fair, this is a show full of characters with just one shtick, but like I don't know, this one seems the least relevant to the plot.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
It's gonna I think Gil's gonna do something about the conspiracy. I think he's involved with it. I think that's what they mentioned it at the end of the episode. So it's gonna be.
That's
like
why he's allowed to have a shit car.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's just there to kill people. Honestly, like he's just there to stop things from happening.
His car is actually going to be like the Batman car. Halfway through the race, a smaller car will burst out of the middle, and his car will suddenly be amazing.
It's gonna be like the Rock Lee moment where half the shit comes off of his car and it just starts zooming by.
Exactly. No,
I actually watched that episode. I now have that reference, that very like famous anime scene
from
after all these years.
Almost 2 decades ago.
Yes, I've just watched it maybe like 4 weeks ago. So my friend has just started watching Naruto, and he's really hyped him. He's like, Jeff, you gotta see this shit.
But you gotta we see that shit though.
Jeff, you gotta see this. Have you seen Rock Lee versus Gara? Dude, you guys are gonna fucking crap your pants when you see Might Guy versus fuck, what was his name?
You meet versus Madara
Yeah, Madara.
in fucking
I mean,
400
Yeah.
episodes.
400 episodes.
I mean, I'm
To be
not
fair,
watching.
if at any point they stop, they should just watch the Might Guy fight. The fight is so fucking good. Just skip to that and then understand that they're fighting almost quite literally.
Gods. If you didn't hear
Gods,
that, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I did not hear.
I would say no. My favorite fight in Naruto is Kakashi
Pain
versus
versus...
no Kakashi
Oh,
versus
okay.
fucking Toby.
Ah, okay. Well, that has story context that Jeffrey wouldn't be able to appreciate.
That's true. The Gaara versus Madara fight is just, yo, I'm gonna just punch the shit out of you and then kick you.
Yeah, the
And
Might
I'm
Guy
gonna
versus
win.
Madara fight is... I'm going to beat the shit out of you with these bare hands. That was just a good fucking fight. I was thinking the Pain one, which again is another very narrative-driven fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyways, that's
But yeah,
part of
Naruto
Ramon.
aside, that's a part of Ramon. I'm looking forward to the race. It from like the black and white scenes during the credit, it seems like there will be some getting out of the car and doing stuff moments where
Yeah, they have
we're
to
going to
spend
interact
8 hours
with
in each
Leon
city.
and stuff.
Yeah, during our little pit stops.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They do have to spend 8 hours refueling. I forgot about that. You're right, Jeffrey.
That'll
And
become
so I think that's where we're going to get most of like what actually happens in the show.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure most of the racing is gonna be off screen, like I predicted last week. But we'll see next episode.
Yeah.
As we go to my dad's hometown,
Las Vegas?
Ely, Nevada.
Oh, that was close.
Oh.
Wait, no. Wait, Las Vegas is Nevada, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Las
Okay,
Vegas is
cool.
Nevada. My dad lived in both places. He was born in Ely, and then when he was
And
very
sold
young,
drugs
they
in
moved to
Nevada.
Las Vegas, and then
Or Las Vegas.
sold drugs. That's when he was in Reno, when he was in college.
Oh, okay. You know, just Las Vegas, I assumed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, anyways, let's talk about our second show of the week, Decadence. Jeffrey, I think you're the host on the show. Tell us about Decadence.
Oh, I liked Decadence. All right, so
Episode 4
crap.
and 5.
Episode 4?
episode 4 and 5. Basically, they out here fighting monsters, and
That's been the show so far, yes.
that's been the
I mean,
show.
that was
I
also
mean,
episode 4 and 5.
That's pretty much all they did. Like they set up that like, oh, there's this like, oh, it's the big bad, and like if they can do this, I don't remember what the monsters are called, but they, like if you
The
kill this
Gadolls.
monster, all the monsters die. The what?
The Gadolls?
Gaddles.
Yeah, Gadolls.
Weird
If you
name.
kill this one, all of them die, and our Kaburagi robot is told like, oh, this is actually just like it's part of the game. Like, there's no way they can win. They're all going to die. Which, like, I want to start like if I was playing a game and they were like, here's a cool scene. You don't play it though. You're going to die in this scene, and then like the heroes of old are going to come and kick ass. Like, I wouldn't enjoy it. I'd be like, man,
Wait.
fuck this game.
So hold on. To talk about that, so the thing is, it's kind of like a scripted death, but you become the hero of old. That's the story. Is you can become one of the heroes.
No. No,
Wait,
it isn't.
really?
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
Oh,
They got the old
they're
heroes back.
Because they bring it, they talk about it, is that they're reinstituting the ranker system. Because they got rid of the old ranking system that Kaburagi used to be like number
So
3
they're-
or whatever on.
they're not really doing the rankings. It's like a new ranking thing. It's
Yeah, they
kind
have
of
like this
it.
new letter-based ranking system with which anime and manga are super hot on the letter-based systems.
SSR.
But so they're bringing back the old like leaderboard as a part of this whole event, and as part of that, the guys who used to be like the top-ranked guys, who were apparently like a lot of them, like stopped doing it once they got rid of the leaderboard, like they no longer had that drive. A lot of those guys are coming back essentially to like be the ones that kill the Alpha Gadol at the end of this event after everyone dies and they lose the first wave.
Oh, that's
So they were
stupid.
supposed to, like, Kaburagi was supposed to basically take up his mantle as, like, a gear again after this fight.
Which like
That's fucking
that's
lame.
a thing. Like I would hate that if I was playing a game.
You gotta watch someone else do
Oh.
this for you.
It makes for interesting television though.
It does.
It seems like that Kaburagi like he was watching it on screen, which is how he found like Natsume like going and he was like, oh shit, like so I feel like this show has the most amount of like I don't fully understand what's happening in this world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mystery
And,
behind
like-
it. Not, there's
Well,
stuff
there's
we
just
still
a lot
don't
of
know.
unexplained stuff
Yeah.
about like the real people android world.
Yeah,
It's very much a like they both are playing a game and it's real life and it's like a reality show / Twitch stream, I guess.
yeah. I mean that's that. Yeah, that's it. Like
It's a lot
I
of
can't
things in
think of
one.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can't say conclusively like what exactly is going on is sort of telling of like they just sort of don't want to give us all the answers. Whether or not they have all of the answers even is a question.
Whether that even matters.
Yeah. I mean, it matters in that I don't want to sit here and be like, what the fuck is happening? What is this?
I mean, it's not super distracting because they put enough like on screen for you to like be distracted. And you're like, oh, but like look at like this. Like the fight scenes are pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
I think last time I was on, I did say that I liked it better than God of High School's fight scenes. I'm gonna take that back, but I like it's good fight scenes still. Like, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining. I think I was reading somewhere that like one of these either Decadence or God of High School like has the same animation studio that did Mob Psycho 100,
I think
which
it's
I thought
Decadence.
was pretty interesting.
No, it's
But,
alright,
like,
cool.
The fight scenes were really cool. Then what happens? Oh yeah, Kaburagi saves Natsume and
And then kills
changes
Alpha
the
God
course of the game.
Yep.
And he's like, "Ha, fuck you! Like I beat your like unbeatable thing." And they're like, "Well, you changed the story, so now, like, we're gonna release this."
We're gonna
I
release
can't
the
tell if
next
it was
patch.
released planned or not. But then like a big monster comes out, and
Oh.
Big Fist.
So,
beats that monster.
The Stargate guy, the Stargate squid thing, that wasn't planned. There's a little scene where you see two guys like clicking, clacking on a board or on a keyboard, and one of them says this was still in development, so they're still trying to like work out what's going on with the Stargate, but it got released a little too early.
Yeah.
But the thing that
But,
happens
like,
at
how
the
does
end,
killing?
I
Well, because I think it was scripted that there was going to be a large monster after killing the Alpha Gadol, but it wasn't supposed to be killed then, so the large monster wasn't ready to be released.
yeah.
So like they basically,
Okay.
in the state that it was in at that moment, it got released, but the state that it was in was an unfinished version.
Okay. But I think the after Big Fist kills that big thing, a bunch of other Gadols, those big whales that we saw in the first episode, are just kind of spawned very like a computer thing. So I think, and Natsume kind of sees that and is like, I think she's catching on to this, like that maybe something is fucky.
She's understanding. Yeah, she like is starting to understand what Kubaragi meant about there will never be peace, because like there's always going to be a new like section of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they didn't spawn.
And I think that's
they got rid of the force field around like this little world.
Wait, they eliminated the force field?
Yeah, like there's a force field that like
Oh.
obscured the vision, and once they got rid of it, that's when you saw like the forest and the whale things.
Yeah.
So like the Goddles are natural, I guess, but like some of
Maybe?
them aren't.
Yeah, that's like again confusing world.
Yeah, it really is.
And we have only seen like half of it so far. So
Yeah,
maybe
there's
they'll
7 more
explain
to
it
go.
a bit later on. I don't know.
But I thought they explained it as like all the resources like humans left are gone into like this very small space on like what looked to be the northern tip of the world, and that's where like everything was happening, and so that's where I presumed everything was happening because
Yeah, that's what I
No
thought too. Because like they
resources.
showed like the dome thing covering them, and like just the area inside of the dome was like nice looking, and everything else was like fucking on fire, basically.
I thought
which
the
is
dome
why I
was
thought
just
they,
like the
like-
game area, and now the whole world is the game area.
okay, maybe like again, I don't fucking know this world.
Yes.
They definitely do need to explain some
Um,
things a bit more, just to get like everything kind of grokked.
I think these 2 episodes though, 4 and 5, were almost exclusively action sequences with like very little, like an important part of the story happens, but there's very little story actually happening.
That's not true. There was some in 4. We skipped over it, in your summary, but there was a part of 4 that was sort of important,
Remind
where
me.
Natsume is determined to be, or is invited to become one of the power,
Oh, she
and
is now a power
Kaburagi
too.
basically
Yeah.
tells her like, don't do that, it's gonna be bad for you, like you're not ready. And
That's
they
right.
basically like end up getting in a fight, and Natsume goes to like the leader of the power, and they have like a conversation about like, what do you want to do? Like, I'm terrified all the fucking time. Like every time I go out there, I'm terrified, but I go anyways because it's the right thing to do. It's like there is some actual character growth of Natsume as she decides like what sort of person she wants to be and like what she really is doing and like what her motivation is.
That's right. I forgot about. I should honestly take notes during these. Like, when I'm
So here's the
watching
thing.
shows.
I say that all the time, and I always fuck it up, and nothing ever makes sense. So take that as you will. Maybe your notes will make better sense than mine, but taking notes has never helped me out.
I guarantee they won't. But well, I'll try it for next week if I remember.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, Natsume became it had growth in her character. Kuburagi's
Yeah.
still having growth in his character. Well,
Not anymore.
Not anymore, because Kuburagi dies.
The dude is straight up dead, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
we
say,
don't know
probably.
just yet, but
Yeah.
like chances are he's dead maybe.
His human form is dead.
Yeah, he got zapped by the bird,
No, but here's the
which is
thing.
the representation of the GLaDOS ball.
But Jeffrey, he undid his limiter. When you undo your limiter,
That's
if you die in the
right.
game, you die in real life.
But was it still undone is the question. Because like when we saw him undo his limiter, his eyes were all red, but then after the fight, his eyes weren't red anymore.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know the mechanics. Maybe they're gonna pull something about like how he like turned the limiter back on, so he's still alive, something like that. Even if he's still alive,
I mean,
he's-
one way or another,
yeah.
the body is dead.
Yeah.
Like Kaburagi
Yes.
is dead. It's just his android person may still be alive.
I think that's what's gonna happen is Kaburagi, the android, is still alive. He's gonna get a new avatar somehow because he's still in trouble with the company, so he has to like work out what's going on with that. And he's gonna in a new body. He's gonna meet Natsume, and he has to like convince Natsume that he's still Kaburagi. And then that's probably when she's gonna learn.
I think
Hey, there's this whole like race of android robot things controlling everything.
well, he does say take care of. I don't remember what
Pipe.
the pet's name is.
Pipe.
Pipe. Like he says, take care of it, and so
Well, 'cause he
I
thinks
think
he's
he
gonna die.
knew that he was going to die.
Right, but we don't know if he actually is dead. He just thought he was
Alright,
going to
yeah.
die.
Or maybe he may not be back for a while, because I doubt the company's immediately going to put him back in the body after he just said, like, the world needs to have bugs.
Right. What
And
I'm
you're
thinking is like he's gonna
Yeah.
the company's gonna try to like destroy like his little robot body once he goes back into it. If the limiter is still undone, and then he's gonna have like some story about him kind of like hiding out, trying to do some stuff to get not dead.
Maybe.
I hope he's dead, because I think that'd be interesting for character development for Natsume. But I don't think he is, because he is our only view into the android world.
Yeah. And the
like-
android world clearly has some interesting things going down with weird long nose and GLaDOS ball.
I like the weird like the thwomp long nose human form.
Oh, where he's
Yeah.
like fucking, he's basically Igor from
Yeah.
Persona.
Yeah.
He's purple Igor.
Very interesting. And then he's got the little fucking squawks, the crow.
Yeah. GLaDOS says crow, yeah.
But I agree with Jeffrey. I think Kaburagi should stay dead, and we'll see. Well, we'll see like how that develops. Maybe Natsume makes a new Gears friend, and that'll be our another view into the android world.
But I think it should be like it should be Natsume's story. Like, this is about her. I think it should be about her, and so
Okay.
That's fair.
that's why I'd like to see him stay dead. Even though I do think that Kaburagi is like an interesting character, and
Mhm.
I don't think he's going to be dead, but I think he should be.
You can't kill the second dad, Jeffrey. You just can't kill the second dad. The first one died. You can't do it to the second one.
I know, like I know how TV works.
We don't even have our two gay Onis to become our surrogate dads.
No, Jeffrey doesn't get that joke.
Jeffrey doesn't get that joke.
I don't get that joke.
It was another anime book, or ABC book, ABC anime that we watched before, about a dad who almost certainly was going to die.
Pretty sad. And then
It was very
happy
sad. He
moments.
didn't
There are
die.
Sad moments.
He
Not
didn't die
yet.
in the end.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But like, did you guys notice that Nasumi got really, really good at like doing the whole like fighting the monsters thing really fast?
Yeah.
She really did.
Because she was going toe to toe with that Alpha Gadol. Like she kind of lost, but like she did much better than everyone else.
Yeah.
I like to call that the Gundam syndrome, where the main character is always much better than everyone else.
And I mean, even for being trained by
she's a
like one of the best
bug.
guys, she was still only being trained for like a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah.
And she's operating with only really 1.5 hands.
Well, now that she has that like the harpoon hand, I think she might actually kind of have like an edge on everyone else.
I
Yeah,
thought
but then,
they,
that means she
like,
has to like manipulate the whole thing with her left hand, which is like her off hand. Although maybe it's her good hand now, because I don't know. We probably won't deal with that ever again.
Yeah, that was for one episode just to get the new hand. We'll see. We'll see what goes on.
So this is something I wanted to bring up last time we did ABC, and then I forgot, but I want to bring it up now. So, Decadence, the thing that they live in, it's alive, right? Like, that's a living thing, right?
Oh, are you
Is
saying
it?
it's gonna go Evangelion?
Yeah.
Where they're like, where it's a Gadol itself? It
So,
kind
this
of
is-
reminds me of a crab
This is my reasoning for why it's alive.
because it needs the juice.
It needs the juice. They call the
Oh.
outside plating of it armor, which is a very specific phrase to
Also,
use.
the nerve connections.
And the nerve connections, exactly. So it connects into the fist with nerve fibers, which is a living thing. It does like the Avatar fucking mind meld with the hair thing, the hair penises.
Which
So, like-
another thing about Avatar, Katsuragi is an Avatar.
Kasaragi is an Avatar. You're right.
Yeah. Anyways,
But yeah, that I'm pretty sure the Decadence, the robot thing they live in, or the machine that they live in,
It's an
I
Ava.
think it's alive.
It's
In
a
the
big
core.
Ava.
It's a big Ava. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if it'll be built like an Ava out of somebody's mom, but I think it's alive.
Jeffrey doesn't get that joke.
Terry doesn't get that
Like,
joke, but I think you
maybe-
understand it.
I don't understand. There, like,
Don't worry, Jeffrey.
I can picture, yeah, context clues.
Oh no, you can't.
I don't know.
So yeah, the Gadol just reminds me of like
Um,
when it goes into the fortress form, it reminds me kind of like a crab holding its like two claws in front of it, trying to protect its face, and then I guess it just has a big ass fist on its back. That's what I think. I think of the Hermitar Nick from Monster Hunter.
Okay, yeah.
Like, the tops definitely look like hands, but I think it's more likely like
Well, the hands are just to make the fist, to make the clasp for the fist.
I know. I don't know. I think it's more likely like part of the android world.
I don't know. I
I don't
think
know.
Nick is right. I think that might be a Gadol, like inside of it.
Possibly. I don't know.
It's gonna
I-
be like
I'm
a
not-
Flintstones type of deal where like there's no actual engine. It's just the Gadol's feet walking.
So we'll see if we ever get to what is or is not inside of the Decadence.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm assuming that's like what's going to be like the ultimate stuff that we're going to deal with is like what is really going on with this world, like what's going on in the robot world with Purple Igor and the GLaDOS ball, and
And
what's
the
going on in
company.
the and what's going on in the human world with the Decadence and all the GLaDOS hanging around, and like what's actually causing them, and like how can we fix it. So I think at some point we're gonna get more like political thrillery almost.
I think this part of the show, this twist now, this is when we're gonna get more political thriller. Like next episode, it's gonna be where it starts.
It'd be interesting. It'd be a nice twist. But I also want to see people punch people.
I mean, we're
I do
still gonna
too.
see people punch people. Maybe we're gonna get Gears on human action.
Oh god, they shoot those giant fucking pipes at each other. Things that
Jesus.
gave me the fucking squiggles in episode 5. When that thing's neck fucking disconnected from the rest
Oh
of
my
the
god,
body,
dude! Right?
I was fucking. That was gross, dude.
That was so creepy,
was
but I
cool.
loved it so much. It was so just fucking
Ugh.
wonky and lanky, and just like it slithered out.
Oh god, I've talked about this before, but I fucking hate parasites and shit. So when it disconnected into like a long ass parasite, I'm like, no, thank you, I'm good. I'd like for this to stop now.
Also, like basically like the sacks of the juice just like exploding.
That was okay. I was okay with that. That was cool. And it's fucking, Piccolo beam cannon that it could shoot.
a very strong water beam or water gun.
Yeah. I was okay with all that. That was really awesome. It was just the neck thing that was like, this is too much. I'm good with this. We can stop now.
I
I'm
thought
glad
the
that you're
whole
about to
thing
get punched
was
in the face.
cool. No, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a fun show. I'm really liking it. The mystery's
Me
intriguing.
too.
Hopefully, they start giving us more answers to the mystery. Otherwise, it's gonna get kind of not boring, but like at some point, I'm gonna want them to get to the point.
Yeah.
And
A lot more questions than answers.
sometimes that can be good, but like sometimes like if you're asking just the same question about like, hey, what the hell is this thing, and it never gets answered, it just kind of gets annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to give us a bit more, little clues and answers here and there.
Yeah.
I want to know what the fuck's going
I
on
wanna
with the
learn
fucking
about the
spaceship.
world.
I mean, we are only crossing over in like the halfway point. It's
Yeah.
like I can accept that like up until the halfway point, like it's mostly questions, and as we pass the halfway point, we start to
Right.
get like more answers than questions. It's sort of like I think a
Yeah.
good balance.
And I think it's going to do that. I am optimistic about the show, and I don't
Mhm.
think it'll turn out awful. So I can see them, starting to answer some of our questions, posing more questions to keep us interested, and then answering those a little bit further on. But,
I think so.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what's going on with the
Yeah.
show and all the little robot things and all the humans and whether or not there's going to be a revolution. I hope.
And whether or
it's
not
something that's-
Gadol's are real or not, or just game pieces.
Yeah, I think Gaddles might be real.
I kind of think they are too, but I want to know like why are they real?
Yeah,
Are they like people that got melded together into monsters, or are they like
just monsters, like
just
aliens came
random
by at some point. They're
mutated
like,
things?
there they are. They're there now.
Aliens just came by and dropped off a bunch of shit, and they're like, "Here, have this.
Yeah.
This is your problem now. Bye."
So something I want to mention about actually all three shows is that all the eye catches are all really cool. Like the little image during the commercial break. I like them all for all the all the shows. For
Yeah, they're all good.
yeah, because for Paranman they have like that kind of manga style, black and white depiction of a random character. Like I think this week's was Haruto. In this one they have like really stylized kind of graffiti art of just the decadence. And then for God of High School,
Out of high school.
they do something similar. I don't remember this episode's, but they always have the little the scratching of the DJ or the scratching of the record. I think it's really cool. I like them. Nice and stylistic.
All right,
Stylish.
that's fair.
They get stylish points for me,
Fair.
except the openings. God damn,
The Out of High School opening is awful.
it's awful.
Especially bad because if I don't precisely skip the 1 minute and 30 that it is, and I undershoot it, because it gets worse as time goes on, that means I've caught the worst section of the song.
I don't like a
nothing-
Paranman's opening either, or Decadence's.
Decadences is just generic, and then
Yeah, but like
Ramon's is also very generic.
right.
God of High School is actively bad.
Yeah, actively bad, but then the other ones I just don't like either.
I don't really care for. I mean, I'm more ambivalent than I think you are from the sound of it. Then
Yeah.
I don't like them, but I don't hate them with the same vigor that I hate God of High School.
Okay, I see that. It's like given like that last season we had like two good openings, but now we don't have either.
Yeah.
Oh well. We do have a nice. I do like God of High School's ending though. I think it's kind of a nice song.
I don't remember it.
It's like a.
I'll be honest, I skipped them all.
I mean that's fine if you don't like him or if you don't want it. It's fine. It's very poppy. Anyways, let's talk about God of High School then.
Okay, let's talk about
Bam,
God of High School.
Boom. We get some backstory. Although What? It's backstory.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Episode 4?
Well, episode 5 is, but episode 4 is. I wouldn't say episode 4 is how do you define backstory? Like flashbacks or stuff like that, or how? Because we learn more about God, I don't remember her name. About Sword Girl.
Okay.
And, like what's going
We
on. with her.
learned a thing about Sword Girl. It is.
Yurima or Yumira.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Yumira.
Yumira.
Ymira? I believe that.
Sorry.
We
I-
learned the smallest fucking amount about like her family and her style and the fact that like everyone left, which we kind of already sort of knew with her whole obsession about like reviving her family style. And then the rest of episode 4 exists, and it's fucking awful. Fucking hated that episode.
I thought it was an okay episode, although it did give me whiplash.
Disagree. Hard disagree.
It
The
did.
wedding one?
Yeah, the wedding one. So
Eh.
this is an entire fucking episode in which the character of Ymira is actively like portrayed in a way that is counter to her whole character. Like her whole thing is she wants to revive her family style and like do her whole thing. And then she gets this wedding proposal from this dude who's like sort of famous, and he's like, "Marry me and I will make your family style famous." And she accepts for reasons that are not fucking explained outside if she wants to revive her family style. That's why she's in the tournament that she's still a part of. This episode would have made more sense if it was the next episode now, after she's knocked out of the tournament. As long as she's still in the tournament, why the fuck is she getting married? She can just revive her family style herself by winning. I hated this episode. It was so fucking stupid.
I don't have
Oh,
an
it was
argument
stupid. It was
for like that part. Like I do kind of agree. I think this episode would have made more sense afterwards as like
Mhm.
a secondary. But they do explain why she's doing it. That's because like his like clout will basically spread this martial arts everywhere. That's
But
her.
she's in the biggest fighting tournament. Like, she's spreading it herself. Everyone fucking watches this fighting tournament, and if you win, they grant you your wish.
Right, I can't argue against that though. Like you're right about that.
Like, this episode was so fucking dumb. Oh, I hated this episode, if you can't tell. I fucking hated this
Aside from
episode.
that, one thing I did want to mention was it gave me whiplash, like at the very beginning, where suddenly we're just like we pivoted and now we're just like off the tournament and just doing this side thing. So that was kind of strange because it wouldn't have like not confused but like hit me as hard if they had like kind of teased it at the end of the last episode where it said, hey, we're gonna do this thing next week. We're not gonna talk about this tournament. We're gonna talk about Ymir for a little bit. And said it's marry me, and then we're off for doing this like wedding stuff for like the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, Jeffrey, you had something to say?
I mean, I like it just like it seems filler. Like there's nothing for
Yeah.
this. Like
Yep.
I do not care. It doesn't add anything to your Ymira. Like I just don't care.
Same.
I think
agreed.
the choreography and some of the fight scenes for like it's the most impressive action sequences of like any of the animes we're watching for this season. But the episode itself for 4 kind of boring.
Yeah, I would agree. The thing that really, above everything, irritates me about it is I know from having read what people have been talking about it that they're skipping a number of chapters.
Yeah.
So like they're picking and choosing which like chapters and arcs to do, and they specifically chose to do this arc. Like they could have just not fucking done it, but they chose to do this arc, and it was so fucking pointless.
So one
Like-
thing why they may have done this arc is because at the end the one dude steals the sword, and it's supposed to be like some special sword or something. That may have been like a seed for what's going to happen later on, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think that might be a reason why they did this one specifically versus other ones.
I mean, okay, maybe that is like
Yeah.
the only.
But like even then, it's like a small thing of the whole little arc.
Yeah.
there.
But it was just not a good episode in my opinion.
I thought it was I thought it is the weakest of the 5, but I didn't hate it as much as you guys did. I guess I didn't love it.
I didn't
just didn't
hate
like
it.
Yeah, I guess Nick actively hates it.
I actually hate it.
I think it was all right. Jeffrey probably thinks it's on the lesser side of all right.
This
Like-
episode actively fucking ruined a character. That's why I hate
Okay.
it.
I will say, like, I'm complaining about it, but the last season of Anime Book Club I was in, like,
Yeah, we don't bring that
I
up.
would still rather watch episode 4 of that compared to any of the shows that I watched last season of Anime Book Club I was in. Like, it's at least like the fight scenes are entertaining and like they're not horrible, but it's just like compare like in the context of only this season, like
Mhm.
or yeah, like this is a weak episode.
But that little arc aside, towards the end of the episode, we have another little pivot where we now focus on Daiwei. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Karate Kid. We now focus on Karate Kid and what's going on with him and his backstory, which bleeds into the 5th episode, which is a huge part of the 5th episode. Basically, it's just him and what's going on with his friend. Nick, I think you liked this episode better than the 4th one.
No.
No? Not even this one?
No. We're going to talk about this when we talk about it, but I've soured on Guard of High School.
Why didn't you like
Really?
the 5th episode?
Yeah. I've been paying more attention to it. Jeffrey's brought it up a few times that he really likes the fight scenes. I no longer like them. I don't think they're done well. I think there's a lot of scenes, especially in the 5th episode, where the fighting just looks janky. And like a lot of it, some of it looks kind of cool. There was the stylistic part, which I'm going to complain about here in a second anyways.
Like the brushstrokes?
We'll leave that aside for the moment. And instead just talk about like where Karate Kid did his like 4 stances stuff. That was probably the best point of it. And even then, I didn't really like it. All the stuff leading up to that was super fucking janky looking. Like a lot of the shots would like pause and like hold on strikes for like weird amounts of time where it felt like they were fighting in like molasses almost. And it looked really generic at times. Like it looked not good in my opinion at times. There were times where they were just fucking like you could tell who they were, but like their clothes had no definition. They were very 2D. They just didn't move right. Like it just did not look really good in the first half. Where he does his 4 stances was pretty acceptable. It wasn't amazing, but it was good enough. And then you have the next like notable thing I could think of is where they do the brushstroke stuff.
That's after halfway through the episode.
Yeah, it was about halfway through the episode. And I mean, it was cool. It was really cool. But it didn't fucking mean anything. Like, they did a whole animation switch to like do some really cool fight animation with brush. First of all, it was just really busy. It was very busy. It was very hard to tell what was going on. There was no clear like if strikes were like landing or like how they were hitting each other. It was very busy outside of like you occasionally saw their face pop in. And the animation change as like a representation of something, it didn't mean anything. They just did it in a different style to do it for the sake of doing it in a different style. And like there was no like greater thing of like it was somehow depicting like them becoming friends or something or like some interesting or unique way. It was just an animation change for the sake of an animation change, which in my opinion wasn't even executed very well.
You can make an argument that the reason the animation changes is because like the way they're fighting each other now changed. Before
But why is it brushstrokes? Why is
the brushstrokes?
How are the brushstrokes representing them like the way they're fighting changing?
I don't know about the brushstrokes, but I'm talking about like after the brushstrokes. The way they're kind of depicted is a bit different.
Yeah.
That part, like they're a little
but like
bit
if
more
you're going to change
right.
the animation, if you're going to change the animation to pick something, it has to depict them. Like
Right.
you can't just change the animation style and say afterwards like, oh, that was to depict them becoming friends or something like that. Like it didn't show like them becoming friends in any way, shape, or form. I could barely understand what was happening during most of it. Like it was just like the lines would like mash against each other, and then you would see one of their faces pop in, and they were smiling. And I'm like, I mean, I get that this is showing me, this is showing them fighting, but I don't see like how they're fighting in any. I just understand that they're fighting. I think personally it was executed poorly.
I'll
and I think on the whole, the show and its story is just getting mediocre.
The story's not good.
Yeah. It's not depicting, like, it's not, there's no story. It's just this tournament, and there's no, like, story happening around it. It feels like there's edges of story with, like, whatever Scar is talking about with, like, oh, we're growing 2 tiger pups and all this other stuff, and, like, the fact that he gave him, like, the fucking power-up fruit, like, 2 episodes ago or whatever. Like, it feels like there's edges of story that we're not doing, but we're not doing any of it. Like, there's just no story to this. It's just a tournament arc, and it's just not as good as I hoped when we first started us off, and you were like, oh, it's just a big tournament arc, and I was like, maybe it'll be good. It's just not. It's just not satisfying.
So, to go with that, like, we know that part's over, at least the preliminary. Now we're actually getting into, like, the real God of High School stuff, which is, like, the actual tournament. So maybe the story might start to kick in now, but I don't know.
But like we know so little about these characters. Like our main character, he is a taekwondo user. That's like the most we know about him. Like we don't know very much about his backstory, where he comes from. He apparently has like a teacher or like a dad or a grandpa or whatever who's like super good and like is well known by the dude with the scar on his forehead. We don't know what that's about. Like we don't know anything about our main character, and like I don't think for if we go into the next level of this tournament, like unless suddenly they give us like a deluge of like this is all the flashbacks that show you makes sense, like I just don't see how they suddenly create a story 6 episodes in that's like satisfying.
I mean, all right. I, for the most part, agree. I think like I don't think the show itself is good,
Mhm.
but I do enjoy the action sequences. I don't like the character designs, but like
Yeah, they got a weird thing with the ears.
I am. It's the noses that bug me.
Oh, yeah,
There's
all the
a lot
noses
of
are
them,
red.
it's weird.
It's the
Yeah.
noses and the red and the ears. But aside from that, I think
Yeah.
they look fine.
But I think the action. I mean, I just think they look neat. Like I like
Yeah.
you had very detailed. You had very detailed. Like this is why I don't like it, and like I can
Mhm.
appreciate that. I just think they look cool.
That's fair.
like when the animation style changed, I wasn't like, what does this mean in like the context of the fight? I'm like, neat. Like that is how I am treating this show,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. I enjoy it. I think that the action
enjoy it for
sequences
what
are
it is.
fun. Yes, I don't think it's a good show, but I think it looks neat.
I think it's a fine show. I also think it looks neat too. I thought at least the fighting in this episode was still really cool and really fun. Like I didn't think it looked janky. I'm not entirely sure like what pieces you thought exactly were like a little off.
Mhm.
I thought for the most part it was okay. Like I think it better than average, I would say. And then pieces of it were even better than better than average. But nothing ever looked worse. Basically, like I've seen worse. Um, and
Oh,
I
I've
don't think
definitely
it's
seen worse.
awful, or not awful, but I don't think it's bad. I would like to know like what pieces you thought looked a little weird, because I would say that I do like. There is one where they're like the camera's kind of further back. They're in like a mid or not a mid shot, but they're like kind of a wide shot, and they do look kind of like a very low res, not low res, but like low detail, and they're kind of like whipping around the stage, and that looked a little off, but that was only like a couple of seconds. But for the most part, I still thought it looked okay. We do get the cubes. Do you guys see the cubes?
The
The
cubes.
cubes.
So I think it's halfway through. What's his face? Karate Kid like hits the ground and a bunch of the stage kind of gets destroyed and a bunch of cubes fly all over the place. That's like the hallmark of this one artist, or not artist, but this one animator, where like he'll represent destruction and explosions as cubes. It's done a lot in Mob Psycho.
All right, I think I know what you
Yeah.
mean. I remember it more from My Hero. I think it shows
That's
up.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
too.
My Hero does that too. I don't remember his
I
name.
think-
I think it was I don't think it's Murata. That's the artist for One Punch Man. But it's some
It's Murata.
it's not it's some animator. Right, Murata's the artist for One Punch Man, but I don't think he's the animator that like does the cube stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a little tidbit there I want to share. Aside from that, I still thought I thought the whole all the story behind like Karate Kid's friend was interesting. I think my favorite character of the group is Karate Kid. Just 'cause he's got the most at stake. Well, not anymore because he lost. So I also lost a
Yeah.
friend. So now he's there to be the Sasuke to Jin's Naruto.
Basically.
You're not my friend. You're totally best friends. Fuck you. You're my brother.
As long as it doesn't end with both of them losing an arm.
Oh right, that does happen.
And then Sasuke is so much of an edgelord that he can't accept a new arm. So he just spends the rest of his days with one arm.
That's really all he needs. He's got the fucking Rinnegan, so who cares?
It's true.
So I still think the show is average, a little bit above average maybe, depending on the episode.
We'll see. I don't believe in the story, and from the sound of it, Jeffrey doesn't really believe in the story either. I think the
No.
animation at times is problematic. I just, I don't know. I also have an issue with the power level growth in this show is so
Scaling?
fucking dramatic. Yeah, like we went from
We went
episode
from
one,
high school kids to explosions.
yeah, we blew out half of the arena at the end of this episode, and like, I'm wondering like, there a hand like I'm assuming this is like 12 or 13 episodes, so we only have 6 or 7. We have 7 episodes.
8. Sorry, 8. I didn't count.
We have 8 episodes. So we have 8 more episodes. Within those 8 episodes, at some point, somebody is going to hit somebody else so hard they destroy the entire ring. I guarantee it.
Isn't that already
Oh,
happened?
100%.
We've only destroyed half the ring so
Oh, okay,
far.
so the entire ring.
The entire ring.
Okay.
We're going to destroy the entire ring at some point.
We are getting to the point where like we should be seeing like equally powered guys in the tournament, so we'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
In terms of the story, though, so I think
But it's just stopped. It's just stopped being like a fighting tournament. Now it's just like fucking Magic tournament.
It's Dragon Ball Z.
It is.
But like I think I mentioned this to you, Nick, like a while ago, like ages ago when we were talking about tournament arcs. But in a tournament arc, the tournament never actually finishes because something always like fucks it up.
That's true. Yeah.
I think that's something like that's gonna happen, and that's how we're gonna get the other two who are no longer in the tournament fighting, because they're gonna fight people outside
okay.
the tournament, and they're gonna have their own little, you know, they're gonna uncover some conspiracy about the tournament, some weird bullshit, and that's how they're gonna have their own fights.
I can see that. That does make sense.
Unless like they are no longer fighting, which I don't think would happen, but I don't know.
So yeah, we'll see like what happens and if the sword stealing does actually develop into some sort of like surprise plot somewhere down the line in a couple episodes.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing about the cult, like saying, "Hey, go steal a god sword."
Yeah, the god sword and like the hand to wield it or something.
Although I'm pretty sure he fucked it up because I think the guy who gave him the order was being kind of like metaphorical, wherein the sword was the girl and not the actual sword. That's just a wooden sword.
I mean, maybe it is a very literal sword.
If it's a literal sword, like why a wooden sword though? I don't know. We'll see what happens, or maybe we won't. Who the fuck knows?
Maybe it's like a sword in the stone thing, where there's like a sword inside of the wood.
Possibly, but we'll see. Also, we found out that in this episode that there's more other nations doing this God of High School shit.
Do we find out there are other nations doing it?
Actually, it might just be that there's other cities in Korea doing it.
Yeah, I thought it was just other cities in Korea.
I jumped the gun.
We see another like administrator who watches their fight and is like, "Oh, pathetic."
This also
and then we see a very Itachi-looking motherfucker with the cloud jacket who's like smirking in his edgelord ways.
He uses fire. Oh, he's a Ninetales, Nick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm looking at the poster. He's a Ninetales.
Oh, is he actually?
Yeah, looks like Kari Kid gets some like water powers. I don't know if that's just Genbu. And then the one girl has like weird feathers coming out of her head. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
That makes it seem like there's going to be more fighting with them. So we'll see. Overall, I think Nick, you like Decadence the most. That's what it seems like.
I would say so. Yeah.
I guess everyone likes Decadence the most.
Oh yeah. I'm glad I also like I'm consistent. I said that I liked it the most last week too.
Yeah. That's fair. We'll see if it still remains your favorite by the end.
I hope so.
I don't see why not. Like I don't see it. It can always become worse.
Sugesser to me exists.
Yeah. Nick, just don't remind me. It can always become worse. I understand.
Show took a real fast dive, in my opinion, from like a 7 to a 2 in one episode.
At the very least, like it's been a good show so far. It's been fun. So let's go ahead and sell out to shit. Jeffrey, we'll start with you. What do you want to sell out to today?
I'm going to sell it to John Carpenter for making probably my favorite horror movie, The Thing, and I'm definitely going to steal inspiration for it for my next D&D setting.
Oh.
So Thank you, John Carpenter, for that.
So I actually watched the thing in like a theater when it was doing like some re-release back in Mosaic.
Yeah.
It was really
I
nice. When
remember
the
you
announcement
telling
it
me
was
that.
fucking cool. Such a fun fucking movie on the big screen.
Oh, it's an intense movie. I fucking love it.
God, that blood scene was so great.
Which one?
The one where
So many.
the one where they're testing the blood,
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Where they? Yeah.
where they're using the little the hot iron and then poking it into the petri dish. That one
Yeah.
specifically. I think it's the first one they do. I don't remember. No, that can't be the first one they do because they have no about it by then. Well,
They
anyways.
Yeah.
Nah,
It's a good movie. Love it. John Carpenter, you my boy.
sell out to something. Hurry up.
Sell out with me. Oh yeah, sell out. Um. Ooh, let's see. Today, whatever time you're watching this, audience, because I know that you're not watching it.
5 weeks from now.
8 million years in the future, when you've consumed all media ever and you've somehow made your way all the way to this mistake of a podcast. I am going to sell out to. I guess I'm going to sell out to the grunge/punk band Mayday Parade. They are a really solid grunge band, really solid punk band. They do sort of music in both styles. It's very, at times, emotional, at times, or like counterculture. It's just really, they're a really good band. They do a really wide style of stuff. So if you just sort of like, any sort of rock type music and you're interested in sort of the grunge and punk scene, Mayday Parade is a solid, band to start with. So shout out to Mayday Parade.
Cool. Well, finally it's my turn. I'm gonna sell out to a show that nobody fucking remembers, and I only remember it because I remember watching like 2 fucking episodes on Adult Swim, fucking 14 years ago. I'm gonna sell out to IGPX, aka Immortal Grand Prix, which is a show about racing mechs, and that's actually all I remember from it. But I remember
That's
thinking it
all you
was super
need.
fucking cool, and that's all I fucking need.
Solid.
There we go. That's the plot the episode for today.
Yeah, that's all we got.
Yep. That's all we
Jeffrey has
got.
made it two episodes in a row.
Yep.
He gets
Dude,
he gets
so
the
next
pass
time-
because he had a doctor's episode or a doctor's note for last episode. So this is his second in a row. So I guess he gets a picture, but he's still just special guest Jeffrey. He needs
I thought it
one
was a
more
picture
week.
after 3.
He should get a picture now, and then he gets to be a member, an official member after
Okay.
3.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll have to figure out a picture for you.
But he has to be specifically
Oh,
noted
that's
as
all right.
special guest.
All right then. I will do that. I'll spend the extra 2 minutes trying to do this for you, Nick. Jesus Christ.
Thank you. It's important.
You, Nick.
Making
Thank
me
you
do
very
extra
much.
work.
God forbid you put in literally 1% effort for ABC.
Well, anyway, that's the episode. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for not showing up.